My beloved soul, before you hear what is unfolding, breathe, be still. Something sacred is moving toward you, and if you listen closely, you will feel it like a hand resting gently on your heart. Do not look away. Do not scroll. There is a reason this message found you, right now. There is a reason your spirit feels stirred, like it recognizes something in these words, before your mind does. Pause here. Because what I am about to reveal is not dramatic. It is not fantasy. It is not a command. It is clarity. And clarity is more powerful than prophecy. There has been a quiet instruction, whispered over someone's life regarding you. Not a demand, not a threat, not manipulation. A direction. A divine prompting, that came like a soft certainty, it is time. Step forward. Stop hesitating. Stop running. Choose the one who brings peace to your spirit. They were told to marry you not because of perfection, not because of fantasy, but because their soul recognizes home in you. And the realization is beginning to bloom inside them, like light beneath a door, they are finally ready to open. My beloved soul, listen. God did not show them fireworks. God did not chase them with fear. God did not warn them with punishment. Instead, something more powerful happened, peace. A peace that stayed. A peace that returned each time they tried to talk themselves out of feeling something this real. A peace that felt like, even if I am afraid, this is still the right direction. They saw you not as escape, but as alignment. Not as a replacement for pain, but as a doorway to a life built, not survived. There is more. They were not led to choose you, because you fix them or save them or complete them. They were guided, because your presence regulates their storms. Because your energy speaks safety, before your words do. Because you love without performing, without controlling, without demanding applause. They were shown that your heart does not dominate or cling. Your heart simply stands there, open, consistent, ready for honesty, ready for patience, ready for real partnership. Few souls learn to love like that. Don't look away now. Something in you wants to rush to the ending, but the power of this message lies in the unfolding. Let the words enter you slowly. Let them settle in your ribs. Let them find the places where doubt built walls, and begin turning those walls into windows. This person, yes, the one you just thought of, has been sitting in a quiet war with their hesitation. They questioned timing. They questioned readiness. They questioned whether they deserved someone like you. They questioned whether love is safer alone. But hesitation is not the absence of feeling. Now listen closely. Your patience has not gone unnoticed. The way you stayed respectful instead of reactive. The way you stepped back without bitterness. The way you held space, instead of demanding clarity through force. That is emotional intelligence. That is spiritual maturity. That is what makes you someone God can build something with. This is why the instruction came. Not as pressure. Not as force. But as alignment. They are being led toward you because in you, there is partnership instead of possession. In you, there is peace instead of adrenaline. In you, there is devotion instead of performance. They are learning that love is not about intensity, it is about consistency. And the consistent image that keeps returning to them is you. Don't stop here. Don't scroll away. If this is resonating, there is more for you. Something deeper. Something that explains what comes next. And if your spirit is tugging at you, stay close. Stay listening. And if your heart feels guided, breathe and say softly, I am ready for truth. And before we move on, if this message is stirring something in you, you may like, you may subscribe, you may stay connected, not for validation, but to remain aligned with the direction your spirit is already moving toward. Only if it feels true. My beloved soul, something has shifted in the spiritual atmosphere around this connection. What was once hesitation is becoming acknowledgement. What was once confusion is becoming direction. What was once distance is becoming preparation. This person has begun to see you not as an option, not as a coincidence, but as alignment. They are realizing that peace is not accidental. Peace is confirmation. Peace is guidance, wearing gentleness as its voice. They have noticed how their mind softens around you. How their guard lowers a little when you speak. How even misunderstandings with you feel safer than laughter with others. They are realizing that love does not always show up with fireworks. Sometimes love arrives like a key, quiet, unassuming, but the exact shape needed to open a life they didn't know they locked shut. And that realization is beginning to melt their fear. Do not underestimate this shift. There is a divine difference between someone who wants you and someone who chooses you. Wanting is impulsive. Choosing is intentional. Wanting is emotional. Choosing is spiritual. Wanting is desire. Choosing is direction. And they are moving from wanting you to choosing you. My beloved soul, God did not tell them to marry you, because you will complete them, you won't. They are being guided toward you, because you will meet them. Growth to growth. Effort to effort. Heart to heart. Their spirit needed someone who understands partnership, not fantasy. Someone who knows that real love requires accountability, communication, healing, responsibility. Someone willing to build a connection, not just feel one. They are not being led toward you because life will suddenly become easy. They are being led because life becomes possible with you. With you, hard days do not feel like defeat. With you, silence is not distance. With you, vulnerability is not danger. With you, the future feels like something that can be built, not feared. Pause here. Feel this truth: if God wanted to give them comfort, anyone would have been enough. But God wants to give them purpose. And you are not anyone. There is also something you need to know. They did not instantly accept this guidance. They resisted. They questioned it. They wondered if they imagined it. They asked themselves if it was just emotional projection or desire wearing spirituality as disguise. But emotional projection fades. Divine instruction repeats. And each time they tried to walk away from the idea of you, something in their chest tightened, not with fear, but with conviction. It felt like, you know this is yours. Stop pretending you don't feel it. My beloved soul, this connection was never meant to rush. Rushing would have broken it. Rushing would have exposed wounds, instead of healing them. Rushing would have triggered fear, instead of trust. Timing is not delay. Timing is protection. The waiting was not rejection, it was refinement. They needed to grow into someone who could love you with presence, not panic. You needed to grow into someone who could receive love without shrinking in fear of abandonment. Both of you needed to learn self-worth before partnership, so that the relationship would not be built on rescue, but resonance. This is why heaven whispered, not commanded. This is why they felt nudged, not controlled. This is why they felt drawn, not dragged. Divine alignment does not need force. Divine alignment calls you by peace, not pressure. And the peace keeps returning. Breathe. Stay with me. There is a moment approaching, where thoughts turn into decisions. Where intention turns into action. Where clarity turns into pursuit. Where silence turns into confession. They are beginning to understand that what they feel for you cannot stay unspoken forever, not if they want to honor it. Not if they want to keep it. Love unspoken eventually becomes love lost. And they are realizing they don't want to lose this. Not you. Not again. Not this time. Do not mistake their quiet for indifference. Their quiet is preparation. Their stillness is planning. Their silence is them trying to handle this correctly. They know you are not someone they can approach lazily. They know you require clarity, not confusion. They know you deserve consistency, not chaos. They know that to come toward you, they must come with something real. This is why the instruction from God was not, take them immediately. The instruction was, prepare first. Then approach. Love built too fast collapses. Love built correctly endures. And something in them wants endurance with you, not excitement without foundation. My beloved soul, hear me, there is a reason your spirit hasn't disconnected. There is a reason you feel pulled toward them at random moments. There is a reason their presence feels like unfinished chapters rather than closed ones. What is spiritually real does not disappear, because the mind becomes tired. It waits. It returns. It stays. If these words are resonating, it means something in your spirit already knew this. You are not learning, you are remembering. You are not discovering, you are recognizing. That is why your heart feels calm right now. Calm is the body's reaction to truth. Before we continue, I want you to know something. You do not need to chase this. You do not need to beg for clarity. What is aligned with you will approach you with clarity. What is chosen will choose you. What is guided will find you, without you forcing its arrival. And if this message is activating you, if your heart feels like it is leaning closer, breathe, stay here, and if it feels right, whisper inside yourself, I am open to alignment, not confusion. My beloved soul, listen closely now, because what unfolds from here is not just revelation, it is transition. The spiritual energy around this connection is no longer passive. It is active. It is moving. It is shifting from possibility into trajectory. This person is no longer sitting in the idea of you, they are stepping into the responsibility of you. That is a sacred difference. They are beginning to understand that loving you is not about emotion alone. It is about structure. It is about showing up on ordinary days, not just passionate ones. It is about choosing alignment, instead of adrenaline. It is about building a life that does not fall apart when challenges come. Anyone can love in moments of comfort. It takes a called soul to love in moments that demand effort. And they are realizing they want to be that soul for you. Do not underestimate the depth of this realization. It is changing them. This is not a temporary romantic impulse. This is not infatuation disguised as destiny. This is clarity maturing into commitment. They are stepping away from ego and moving into intention. Away from protection and into vulnerability. Away from waiting for the perfect moment and into creating one. There was a moment, not loud, not dramatic, but undeniable, when something inside them whispered, if you wait too long, you will lose what God is offering. That whisper did not frighten them. It sobered them. It matured them. It reminded them that alignment is not guaranteed to stay, if it is not honored. Destiny requires participation, not observation. They now understand, they cannot receive you passively. They must choose you actively. My beloved soul, God did not tell them to marry you, because you are untouched by flaws. They were guided because your flaws are met with accountability, not avoidance. Because you are willing to try, even when you're scared. Because you apologize without excuses. Because you know how to repair, not just retreat. Because you don't abandon connections, you water them. This is why their spirit is being guided to you. Not toward perfection, but toward partnership. Pause, and feel that. Let it soften the harsh things you've believed about yourself. Let it challenge the narrative that you are too much or not enough. You are not too intense, you are precise. You are not too emotional, you are honest. You are not too quiet, you are intentional. And the right soul sees those things not as burdens, but as blueprints. This person is learning to pay attention to the details that matter. The tone of your voice when you withdraw. The way your eyes shift when you're afraid to be misunderstood. The silence you use to protect your heart before you speak. The softness you carry that most people overlook. They are noticing what others missed. They are valuing what others dismissed. That is not coincidence. That is calling. There has also been a shift in their prayers. They are no longer praying for guarantees. They are praying for readiness. They are no longer asking, is this mine? They are asking, how do I hold this correctly? They are no longer afraid of choosing you. They are afraid of hurting what was entrusted to them. That is what maturity looks like in love. Don't look away. This next part matters. They are being guided to understand that you do not need promises, you need presence. You do not need reassurance spoken once, you need consistency proven repeatedly. You do not need intensity, you need direction. You do not need a soulmate who arrives perfectly, you need a partner who arrives willingly. This is why God told them, go to them with honesty, not perfection. Go to them with clarity, not performance. Go to them with intention, not illusion. My beloved soul, the connection is beginning to press on their spirit. Not painfully. Purposefully. They are feeling the truth settle in their chest, like a steady weight. Not a burden, an anchor. Something real. Something that will not leave. Something that asks to be built, not imagined. And each time they picture a future built with care, the outline of that future has your shape. Do you feel it too? That strange inner quiet? That sense that something is aligning behind the scenes? That awareness that you are not waiting, you are being prepared? That's not fantasy. That is resonance. The soul feels what the mind has not yet understood. But hear me carefully, you do not need to chase this. You do not need to force this. You do not need to remind them of your worth. Your presence already did that. Your consistency already did that. Your sincerity already did that. Attraction may draw someone close, but alignment keeps them there. And alignment is working right now, even if you cannot see its mechanics. Now let me tell you the part that will melt your heart if you let it. They are beginning to miss you differently. Not with longing, but with recognition. Not with desperation, but with respect. Not because of absence, but because of awareness. They are not missing what you gave them, they are missing who they were able to be in your presence. And that realization changes everything. Breathe. Stay with me. There is more. If your spirit is steady right now, if the words feel less like information, and more like confirmation, then you are aligned with what is unfolding. And if you choose to stay with this message, to stay awake to it, to stay receptive to it, the next words will shape understanding, not just soothe emotion. My beloved soul, what comes next, is where the shift becomes visible. Up until now, the transformation has been internal, thoughts, realizations, quiet awakenings. But alignment does not stay invisible forever. What is spiritual, eventually becomes practical. What is felt, eventually becomes spoken. What is known, eventually becomes acted upon. And that is where this connection is headed. They are beginning to recognize that clarity unexpressed becomes confusion. That affection unspoken becomes assumption. That desire unclaimed becomes distance. They are realizing that staying silent to avoid risk is still a choice, and silence has consequences. Their hesitation once felt like protection, but now it feels like loss. They're not ready to lose what they haven't even begun to fully choose. This is why something inside them is shifting from fear to responsibility. The thought is becoming firmer: if I want this, I have to respect it. If I respect it, I have to name it. If I name it, I have to show up for it. That is the beginning of real commitment. Not the idea of love, but the architecture of it. Your name is not just in their thoughts now, it is in their planning. The way they picture their next season. The way they imagine their growth. The way they define emotional success. You are becoming part of the blueprint. Not as a fantasy, not as a placeholder, but as someone to build with. And that realization is sobering them. It is humbling them. It is preparing them. They have started asking themselves harder questions. How do I approach them with honesty? How do I communicate, without confusing them? How do I show that I am choosing them, not just wanting them? These are not the questions of someone playing with your heart. These are the questions of someone trying not to mishandle it. My beloved soul, God did not tell them to marry you, so they could escape their wounds. The guidance came so they could outgrow them. So they could learn partnership, instead of avoidance. So they could learn accountability, instead of silence. So they could learn to love, without self-sabotage. You are not the exit from their past, you are the lesson their past prepared them for. And you, too, are being prepared. You have been learning emotional dignity. You have been learning how to hold yourself to a standard that does not beg to be chosen. You have learned to step back without punishing. To wait without shrinking. To hope without losing yourself. That is not weakness. That is readiness. Do you see it now? The waiting has not been empty, it has been formative. It has been shaping your self-worth, refining your boundaries, and teaching you emotional fluency. Not so you could tolerate neglect, but so you could recognize alignment. You are not waiting for them to show up, you are waiting for the version of them that can meet you. They are beginning to see that approaching you requires effort, not assumption. Presence, not potential. Consistency, not intensity. To love you is to show work, not just feeling. And they are finally ready to start showing work. Pause. Receive this. You are not being chosen because you are easy to love. You are being chosen because you are worth loving well. This is where the story begins to turn from contemplation to intention. They are starting to notice the areas where they must grow to meet you. Communicating instead of withdrawing. Expressing needs without fear. Choosing repair over pride. Being consistent rather than impressive. These are not small changes. These are identity-level recalibrations. And the fact that they are considering these changes, because of you, is evidence of calling. Not obsession. Not fantasy. Calling. They are also recognizing that leadership in love does not mean control. It means initiative. It means clarity without dominance. It means guidance without superiority. It means saying, I don't just want you, I am preparing for you. They are not being told to dominate the connection, they are being told to steward it. My beloved soul, the reason this is happening now, is because the season of neutrality is ending. The time of maybe is fading. The space of ambiguity is dissolving. Their soul is growing uncomfortable with lack of direction because lack of direction eventually becomes loss. And they do not want to lose you by default. So they are feeling the pull. The internal nudge. The urgency that isn't panic, but purpose. Not now or never, but if not now, alignment will pass you by. Breathe. Let that settle. This is not pressure. This is permission. This is the moment where passive waiting turns into relational authorship. This is where they begin to write into the future, instead of waiting for it to arrive. Something in them is preparing to communicate. Not to test the connection, but to honor it. Not to get answers, but to give clarity. Not to ask if you're still there, but to say, I am here now. And if your heart feels like it's leaning in, if the peace in your chest feels heavier in a good way, then you are aligned with what is arriving. My beloved soul, this is where everything begins to align. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but deliberately. The energy around this connection is stepping out of theory and into expression. You will begin to notice subtle changes, small things that carry meaning. The way their tone softens when speaking to you. The way conversations last a little longer than they used to. The way they remember details that matter. The way their eyes hesitate like they're searching for the right words instead of the perfect ones. These are not coincidences. They are indicators. Signs of someone learning to choose instead of observe. They are stepping away from the mindset of, what if I'm not good enough, and into, what if I become the person this connection deserves. They are no longer standing at the doorway of possibility, they are placing their hand on the handle. Not rushing to fling it open. Not hiding behind it either. Just acknowledging that the door cannot stay closed forever. They are beginning to realize that waiting for the perfect moment is the mistake that perfect moments are made of. That clarity does not arrive fully assembled. It is built through effort, through conversation, through courage. They are realizing that commitment is not an announcement, it is a posture. A consistent choice to lean forward, instead of backward. To repair instead of retreat. To speak instead of disappear. My beloved soul, the instruction they received was not merely marry them. It was, love them with intention. Love them with maturity. Love them with God in the room. Marriage is the destination, but preparation is the path. And they are finally willing to walk it. There will be moments where their voice shakes. Where they fear saying the wrong thing. Where vulnerability feels heavy in their throat. But listen closely, fear is not a sign to stop. It is a sign that what they are stepping toward matters. They are learning to trust the trembling. To move anyway. To show up anyway. Because the connection is worth the discomfort of growth. You will feel this shift in your own body, too. In the way your anxiety softens. In the way your assumptions feel less reactive. In the way your heart feels like it's not bracing for abandonment the way it used to. That is alignment. That is readiness. That is spiritual nervousness turning into spiritual certainty. Do not sabotage this with doubt. Do not smother it with fear. Do not outrun it with overthinking. You do not need to fix the future. You need only to stay open to it. Remember this, you are not being chosen because you are perfect. You are being chosen because you are a partner. Because you build instead of destroy. Because you listen instead of weaponize. Because you heal without humiliating. Because you love in a way that feels like a safe place to land. That is rare. That is holy. That is why the instruction came. Something in them is preparing to say it. Not in a poetic speech. Not in dramatic confession. But in words that feel like a threshold. I want to try. I want to do this right. I want to build with you. This is how real commitments start. Quietly. Sincerely. With two souls choosing the future at the same time. Do not panic when this moment comes. Do not shrink. Do not crumble under the weight of your own doubt. Just breathe. Just receive. Just allow the truth to land without trying to control it. You do not need to know how everything will unfold. You only need to recognize when something is unfolding. My beloved soul, God told them to marry you not because love will be easy, but because love will be earned. Through communication. Through transparency. Through honesty. Through the discipline of choosing each other even when emotion fluctuates. Marriage is not a reward. It is a responsibility. And they are ready to try, not perfectly, but intentionally. Now hear this, you do not need to chase them to prove you are worthy. And you do not need to run to prove you are unattainable. You need only stand where you are, unafraid of being seen. Love does not chase. Love does not hide. Love meets in the middle. If these words feel like they were spoken to you, not at you, trust that. If something in your chest feels like it's exhaling, trust that. If peace has started replacing panic, trust that. Peace is not a coincidence. Peace is instruction. And if your soul already knows that this message carries truth, then let the future come. You do not need to force it. You only need to remain available to it. Before this closes, I want you to hear this without flinching. You are not waiting. You are aligning. You are not hoping. You are preparing. You are not dreaming. You are becoming ready. And what is ready will recognize what is ready. If this resonated, hold it gently. Keep your heart open. And if you feel called to stay connected, to receive the next message when it arrives, like, subscribe, or remain close to this space. Not for validation, but to stay aligned with what your spirit is already stepping into. Now breathe. The next chapter is already on its way to you.